Today, Lionel Messi is considered as the GOAT in Argentina, but what if I told you that not so long ago, Argentina fans were burning his shirts, calling him a traitor, and he even retired before winning any major trophy with his national team. But how did he go from the most hated player in his own country to the biggest legend ever? This is the entire history of Lionel Messi with Argentina, starting with his debut back in 2005. When Lionel Messi was initially called up for Argentina's first team, he was just 18, and only 1 year prior he made his debut for Barcelona. However, unlike many people think, his debut with Argentina was a disaster. He didn't score any goals or gave away assists. In fact, his debut lasted just 40 seconds, because when this Hungary player tried to stop him by dragging his shirt, Messi accidentally hit him in the face. The referee showed red, and just like that, Messi's first appearance in an Argentina shirt was over. But he had so much more to offer, and he got that chance in the 2006 World Cup. At just 18 years old, fans were already calling him the next Maradona, and hoped since day one that Messi will bring them glory, just like Maradona once did. And when he came off the bench against Serbia and Montenegro, he scored 1 goal with an assist. Argentina fully believed again, but the coach didn't see it in the same way, as he rarely used Messi, and against Germany in the quarterfinals, he even left Messi on the bench for the entire game. They got eliminated, and instead of bringing back glory, Leo left with a bitter taste in his mouth. But the worst part is that he wasn't even given a chance. However, while this was a major disappointment for the GOAT, what happened next would make him even sadder about his national team. In 2007, Messi played in his first Copa America. By this time, he was 20 years old, and his potential was beginning to show more and more. And so, he was Argentina's new star, being expected to carry them to glory. He was really close this time, scoring against Peru in the quarterfinals, then against Mexico in the semifinals, and in the final, well, in the final, the Messi and Argentina curse officially started, because Brazil destroyed them 3-0, and since that defeat, questions were raised. Can Messi really do it? Is he the next Maradona, or just a fraud? It was the first time he felt the sting of losing a major final for Argentina, a pain that would come to define the next decade of his international career. But not everything was so bad about it, because our next chapter is first triumph. Messi's next chance of winning a trophy with his country was at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. Even since then, Messi valued Argentina more than anything, as he had to go to a preseason tour with Barcelona, but he chose his country, and for sure he never regretted it. The Olympics were an under-23 competition, so because Messi was only 21, he was allowed to play, but he wasn't alone. Other talented players like Agüero, Di Maria and Mascherano were also part of the team. But despite this, the one who stole the show was Leo. Wearing number 15, he glided past every defense in his way. Passes, dribbling, shooting. This guy had everything at that age, and his biggest advantage, he had time. He was so young, with his body only beginning to develop, which meant that his pace was unmatched. And so, Messi scored in the opener against Ivory Coast. He then did it again in the quarterfinals, and he was decisive in the final, as he provided a golden assist to Di Maria, who scored the winning goal. Argentina took home the Olympic medal, and for Messi, it was his first international triumph. This iconic photo just shows how much it meant for him. However, for many fans, it still wasn't enough, as this wasn't a major trophy. What really mattered was the World Cup, and the pressure on Messi to deliver would only grow as South Africa 2010 approached. For the first time since Messi's debut, he was seen as Argentina's undisputed star, because he just came fresh out of winning the treble and absolutely dominating the world with Barcelona. But to make it even more dramatic, Maradona was Messi's coach this time. Literally, the entire world looked to see if they could do it together this time. But something didn't quite work out. Maybe it was the Jabulani, the coach, or even the team, but Messi just couldn't score. Despite Despite this, Argentina progressed past the group stages and the round of 16. However, in the quarterfinals, they got outclassed 4-0 by Germany, and once again, Leo walked away empty-handed. Fans started to doubt his ability because at Barcelona he was the greatest to ever do it, but with Argentina he just looked like a shadow. They also said that he can't be a leader, he is quiet, he doesn't scream, and so he simply can't lead a team. For a while, they were right, because what followed was the darkest period in Messi's career. Between 2011 and 2016, Argentina would reach 3 major finals and they lost every single one of them, with Messi being the main target for hate. And it all began in 2011, when Copa America was hosted in Argentina. Again, a golden opportunity. Even so, the team looked nervous, shaky, and simply not good enough. So naturally, they got eliminated in the quarterfinals by Uruguay. But because Messi only provided 3 assists and he didn't score a goal for the entire tournament, fans blamed Messi. They didn't just question his ability. This time, for them, it was Messi's fault. They accused him of not caring, of never showing the same passion he did at Barcelona. And it wasn't going to end there, because then came the 2014 World Cup. Yet another opportunity for redemption. This Argentina team finally looked more structured, and for Messi, it was his biggest dream to win the World Cup. He wouldn't let this get away again. And for the first 3 games in the group stages, Messi scored 4 goals. In the knockout rounds, he only had 1 assist, but he still carried this team like no other, with all of that pressure being on his shoulders. Argentina got past Switzerland, then Belgium, Netherlands, and they were up against Germany in the final. Only 1 step away, 1 perfectly placed shot away from completing football. But Higuain had other plans that night, and in the end, Germany won thanks to Mario Götze, who came off the bench and scored an iconic goal. This time though, even Argentina fans who always hated Leo felt bad for him. He won the Golden Boot, they saw how much he tried, but the reality was that Argentina wasn't good enough to win any major trophies. It was just Messi who made them look good. And those cracks would be even more evident in the 2015 Copa America. Messi was still determined to win something for his country, and he again carried Argentina, scoring 1 goal in the group stages and providing 3 assists in 1 match in the semi-finals against Paraguay. Argentina were yet again in a major final and in a position to win some silverware. All they had to do was beat Chile. But again, Higuain had other plans. He decided to miss this chance and then a crucial penalty in the shootout. So from all the Argentina players who took a penalty that day, only Messi scored. Yet, he was receiving all the blame. Even so, Messi didn't give up. He knew that one day he would win, and so he tried again in the 2016 Copa America. This time, Messi got to a completely new level of carrying. In 5 appearances, he scored 5 goals and provided 4 assists. He led his team to another final, back to back, and it was again v Chile. Higuain missed another huge chance to score, and so penalty shootouts followed. This time though, even Lionel Messi missed. He knew everyone was hoping he would save them, but when everyone needed him most, he skied his penalty. It was all his fault. After Argentina lost, Messi finally broke down. Tears were covering his face. He gave his all. He tried again and again, through blood and sweat. But it was the 3rd final in a row which he lost. It's after moments like this when you question everything. Maybe it is not meant for me. Maybe they are right. I'll never be good enough for my country. I have to give my all back, but I just can't. That night, Messi was in the dressing room alone, inconsolable. His teammates said they had never seen someone cry so badly after a game. He cried and cried. But then, Leo said something that made even his biggest haters sad. When asked about the future, Messi said, "For me, the national team is over. I've fought all I can. I've tried. I've done all I can. It hurts me more than anyone, but it's evident it's not for me." And just like that, he announced his retirement from the national team at just 29 years old. Argentines were furious. They called Messi a traitor. They burned pictures of him and his shirts. Even his son noticed noticed this, and when he asked him why they were doing all of this, he didn't know how to answer. For Messi, it hurt more than anything to see his own people turn against him.
Mi hijo de 6 años, que entiende. ¿Por qué te matas en Argentina, papi? ¿Por qué vas a jugar con Argentina? Tuve mucha gente en contra. Todavía viene mi hijo, papi, ¿por qué va a la selección? ¿Por qué no te quieren ahí? ¿Entendés? Yo tengo que pasar por esas cosas también, pero no me importa, porque yo quiero estar.
But despite all of this, just 2 months later, Messi returned. He was back to save Argentina, as they were going through a very rough period during the World Cup 2018 qualifiers. It was so bad that they almost never made it to the tournament. Ecuador scored. But here is when the greatest players ever perform, when they are needed the most. Messi literally saved his country and scored a hat-trick to qualify them to the 2018 World Cup. For a moment, he was seen as a national hero, but not for long, as he had another impossible task ahead, winning the World Cup. However, truth be told, Argentina were nowhere near good enough. All they knew how to do was rely on the greatest player ever. But no team can go a long way without a proper squad, and as a result, Argentina were knocked out in the round of 16 by France. Everyone kept saying the same thing: you can't be the greatest if you don't win a trophy with the national team. But none of Messi's setbacks would be in vain, because finally, a light at the end of the tunnel was shining. In the summer of 2018, Argentina appointed a new coach, Lionel Scaloni, who finally had a clear idea, a good tactical approach, and he knew how to organize this Argentina team. Instead of calling up old players who no longer had what it takes, Scaloni built his team with young, talented players, and more importantly, he organized his squad in such a way that everyone would play for Messi. Not play, die for Messi.
He done a speech saying he was going to be his last one, so he was going to give it all. Oh mate, and I was like, a little shivers, you know.
Yeah,
Messi
I was going to say, what's that like?
Oh,
do you know
my
when
God,
when the main man Messi gets up and he's like speaking, does everybody just shut up and listen?
Everyone shut up.
Really?
Everyone shut up, and they were like that, you know. Whoever it is, manager,
really,
president of Argentina, whoever's in there, they just shut up.
But despite the promising signs, Argentina still lost the Copa America in 2019 against Brazil in the semi-finals. This time though, there was hope. It wasn't all lost, because while everybody was focused on the other national teams, Lionel Scaloni secretly built a football machine. And after years of heartbreak, Messi entered the Copa America 2021 determined to finally lift a trophy with Argentina. During the tournament, Leo scored 4 goals and provided 4 assists, carrying his team by scoring and providing from every angle. Free kicks, penalties, even goals outside of the box. He literally contributed from everywhere. And step by step, Argentina reached another final, this time against Brazil, but because Messi wasn't alone and he had a team behind him, Argentina performed. Every player fought for every ball, and in the end, Di Maria scored the winning goal to put an end to Messi and his nation's long curse. Argentina were finally champions, and Messi was now free of that pressure that was haunting him for so much time. He could play with passion again, yet every time he celebrated this trophy, he cried. It meant more than any Champions League, Ballon d'Or or Golden Shoe. But even that wasn't the end of the story. After breaking the curse, this Argentina team played like there were no limits whatsoever, and shortly after the Copa America triumph, they won the Finalissima by beating the European champions Italy 3-0. Messi was dominant, they were dominant, and this team just kept on improving. However, what happened next is truly a story you could only see in movies, because the World Cup 2022 was around the corner. And let me tell you something about this tournament. It happens only once every 4 years. All the stars have to align for a national team to have the right players in the right generation and under the right manager. So winning the World Cup doesn't compare to any award or trophy, not only in football but in sports altogether. You can't spend money here to win like Man City or PSG did in the UCL. It's all about destiny. And so this was the perfect chance for Messi. They finally had a good team, Leo was in form, and he was ready to give it all for his biggest dream, his last chance of achieving it, the perfect chance. But despite the expectations and and Messi's goal in the opening game, Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia. For a second, it was all happening again. Doubt, fear, failure. What if Argentina doesn't make it to the knockout rounds? But like I said earlier, the greatest players ever perform when they are needed the most. Argentina v Mexico. If they lose, they are going home. They have to win. And so, out of nowhere, Messi scored a brilliant goal from outside of the box. Until this day, many call it Messi's greatest goal, because it gave everyone hope and his teammates also felt it. Just after the goal, everyone played entirely different. Enzo scored and the match ended 2-0. Then, in the final group stage match, Messi missed his penalty, but this time, his team stepped up for him and even then he had a great performance, so the game ended 2-0 for Argentina. Now, they were officially qualified for the knockout rounds. Against Australia, Messi once again opened the scoring. Then, Julian Alvarez. But it was there for everyone to see. It's like Messi unlocked another prime. He carried this team and his performances in every game were unbelievable. What followed next though was one of the most violent football matches ever. In the Argentina v Netherlands match, there were issued a record 18 yellow cards. Messi scored his penalty, then gave an assist, but just when things were looking bright for Argentina, Netherlands scored in the 83rd minute and then again in the last minute to take the game to penalties. However, Argentina didn't care about pressure. They were here to win, and so they did. But what most people noticed in this game was a different side to Lionel Messi. He didn't seem humble anymore or silent. He was outspoken, loud, even arrogant. But that was just his mentality. He realized that he has to be selfish to win the biggest things. To be the best, you have to think that you are the best. And that energy carried on even in the semifinals against Croatia. Messi was looking for revenge and he delivered. He scored one penalty and single-handedly brought Guardiola's transfer value down to deliver a magical assist. Argentina won 3-0 and now they are in another World Cup final. Before you know it, Messi opens the scoring through a penalty and then a beautifully orchestrated play ends in a goal by Angel Di Maria. But then, out of nowhere, in the 80th minute, Mbappe scores. 1 minute later, Mbappe scores again. And now Messi is smiling because this seems to just be cursed for him. He was 9 minutes away from winning, but even now it didn't happen. However, he still didn't give up. In the extra time, Messi scores again, and for sure, Argentina are now champions. But Mbappe wanted to be a villain that night and he again scored to deny Messi, making the score 3-3 and dragging the game to penalties. Mbappe scored his first, then Messi, then France, then Argentina, until Emiliano Martinez saves. Dybala scores and Martinez saves again. And while it all came down to the last penalty, which if Montiel scores, Argentina are champions, time stopped. Messi was looking at the sky and all he said is, "It could be today, grandma." He remembered how she took him to football practice and believed in him until her last day. Even though she was never there to witness her beloved nephew achieve his dream, Messi never forgot about her. And then it happened. Montiel scored. It was over. Argentina really won the World Cup. All that suffering and heartbreak finally paid off. Every player, staff member, even the manager cried. They did it. Messi won the player of the tournament. He scored 7 goals, provided 3 assists, won man of the match in every game except against Saudi Arabia, and he almost scored in every game if it wasn't for that missed penalty against Poland. This trophy showed the world why the debate between him and Ronaldo was never even close. Messi completed football. He could finally close his eyes and not see any goals he still had to accomplish. It was a movie with a happy ending at last, and a journey not even script writers could think about. And to add one more to his trophy collection, Messi won the Copa America in 2024. He was instrumental to that win, but in the final he got injured and couldn't continue. Even then, he started crying knowing that he wants to help his team, but he physically can't. In the end, this final again had a happy ending, and Messi became the most decorated player ever with 45 trophies. Which brings us to the final chapter in Messi's journey with Argentina, an eternal legend. What Messi did with Argentina isn't only a miracle in football terms, it is also a life lesson. Since he was 16, his biggest dream was playing for his national national team. Over the years he went through hell, he endured his own people calling him a traitor, he saw all of his work fall apart even when he gave more than he thought he could. At times it seemed as though there was always something that prevented him from winning, and it hurt even more because it was his home country, the place in which he grew up, a place which he loved more than anything. But in the end he never gave up, he always found a reason to keep going instead of leaving. Many called it luck, but is it luck when you're always there? Nothing happens by chance, and even if you're in the right place at the right time, it's because you were there even when it seemed like the right time would never arrive. After his beautiful journey, Messi just played his last home game with Argentina, and he even said he might not make it to the 2026 World Cup. But even so, what Messi did with his national team until now is show the world with a real-life example that it can't always be darkness. Sooner or later, navigating through the clouds and enduring everything, a shining light would appear, no matter how dim it would seem at first.